Okay. Okay, guys, so something I want to say before I start the video. This is, I know you can see the watch time on this video, and it's like really long. It's like an hour long. And the reason for this isn't because like, oh, I'm just blah, blah. No, it's because isn't because I'm just like waiting, like extending it for YouTube or whatever. No, it's because in this deck profile I go really in depth about every card choice. I go in depth about the ratios. I explain what every card does in detail. I explain certain interactions between the cards that are just really important to know, and why, like, just really I really go in depth about the deck profile on this. And if you want to learn heroes, I do recommend watching this, even though it is very long. I will make a quicker deck profile in like that I'll probably upload with this one, or a day later. But just I'm warning you guys, it's going to be long. It's going to be very just like this is why, and like this is what I think, and a lot of that stuff. So if you don't want to watch that, watch the other video if you still want to watch the same deck profile. And if you don't, then that's okay. You guys do you. You can do whatever. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy, and here's the video. Hello everybody, this is Capote, and we're back with some more deck profiles, but it's the same deck profile, but it's different. I'm weird. It doesn't matter though. Anyway, we're here with the same we already did heroes, but guess what? The ban list just dropped today. Well, I'm the damn recording. I don't know what the hell's gonna come up. I mean, I'm gonna try to get it out as soon as possible, because I think that the deck is kind of insane right now. Well, not insane like all the other decks, but insane like it's better than it's ever been, which I guess is insane in its own right. But yeah, it's better than it's ever been because dang, the ban list was good. Not only does it mean that basically not everyone's going to be playing Fusion Destiny Phoenix Enforcer because they can't get out with Verte, and like a lot of people debate whether playing the 2 Fusion Destiny and getting the Phoenix Enforcer is worth having the 2 bricks in hand, because again it's like 4 cards in your deck, which again isn't that much, but like it's not as free as it was before with Verte and Icona, because Verte got banned. Thank goodness, finally. I don't know about you guys, but I've been wanting Verte to get banned literally since Dragoon came out, because it just makes so many things a problem that it didn't need to be a problem. Like it's basically searchable, not searchable, but summonable super poly, which is like, yeah, but that's not even the big problem. The big problem is that it makes it so Konami can't print any really good fusion cards, which sucks for everyone else. That like for everyone who actually wants to play the decks what's it called? That actually use the cards, like heroes with Fusion Destiny, or with Neo's Fusion, or Dark Magician. Yes, I'm saying Dark Magician for Dragoon. I mean Red Eyes too, in like a sense, but Dark Magician can make it so much easier. You don't even need Red Eyes. You just need the Timaeus Dragon or like Keeper of Dragon Magic, and it's good. Like I literally just, I've been ever since I got home from work, I've been just sprucing up not my old decks, but all my decks to fit the new ban list and like be better. And they all have Change of Heart now because Change of Heart is silly, and I don't know why. Like it's mind control, but you can attack. So like the thing is, I'll explain it when I get there. It's in here, so I'll explain it. But like, damn, the ban list insane, and yeah, I'm gonna explain all my card choices and everything. I did like not a few more. I did one more deck profile, and I guess the quick version. So I'll probably do a quick version of this one too, which is something that I'll do after this, I guess. But anyway, I'm going to explain every card choice, explain what it does, and why I put in the deck over other cards, I guess. And why the ratios are the way they are. This is going to be like an in-depth version. If you guys know heroes, if you guys just want to see different ratios for like what people are thinking, for what like people are thinking with the new whatever, like ratios, just like normal stuff that like you can do real quick, I'm gonna do a video that just literally goes over the cards, and I guess I'll explain a little, but not that much. I'll just say these are my ratios, this is what I have, and then have at it. But I'm not going to do a side deck, because I think that the side deck really depends over what you're doing. If you're going to like a regionals, then you can do it a regionals with like a certain side deck. But a lot of people who play heroes, you're not going to regionals with heroes. I mean, I'm different because heroes are my favorite deck, and I want to go to regionals with my favorite deck. If I do go to regionals, I'm not going to this next one because I'm broke. But anyway, yeah. heroes. Let's do it. The decks are also a lot cheaper now because of the Ferris and Increase reprints. So I'm assuming people want to pick it up because it is a really fun deck and it's really nostalgic and it's just really cool. Anyway, let's get into the card choices. So first, we're going to start off with 2 Vision Hero Ferris. So what Ferris does, he's a 5-star monster, which sucks. If he were a 4-star, he'd be so much better. He'd be like the best normal summon in the deck. But you know what? He's not, because reasons. Anyway, because he'd be too good. Not too good, but like he'd be pretty good. So anyway, Vision Hero Ferris. So what he does is you can pitch a hero monster, Ferris too, just any hero monster from your hand. So you can discard it to the graveyard as cost. So that actually comes up quite a bit because you can discard Malicious's cost or Shadowmist's cost and still get something even if they do negate the effect, which is really cool. But anyway, pitches as cost to special summon itself. And then while it's on the field, it has the effect that when it is normal or special summoned, it can put a Vision Hero in the spawn trap card zone. This is really cool because it cannot get Ash. People might tell you that it can get Ash, but they're wrong because it can't. And if they say so, then they're wrong and they're dumb. I mean, they're not really dumb, they're just acting dumb, which is something different. But you know what? Everyone can act dumb sometimes. Anyway, I only play 2 because I don't think you need 3, especially with the hero lives at 3. A lot of people are. I'll get to it when I get to Stratos. But there's the debate between, not debate, but a lot of people play 3 Ferris over 3 Stratos, and honestly, I don't think that's wrong. It's just I don't like it. I don't like seeing 2 Ferris. I'd much rather see 2 Stratos in my hand than 2 Ferris. And again, it's searchable off of Stratos. It's searchable off of Shadow Mist. It's searchable off everything. And most of the time you aren't starting your combos with this. I mean, I feel like just the fact that you can summon Stratos off of a Hero Lives is better, but that's just me. If you want to play 3, play 3. Whatever. It's up to you. Everyone's deck choices are different. This is just my opinion. And if you want to change it, if you want to do whatever, it's your deck, man. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a game where you can build the deck however the hell you want, and no one will... I mean, some people will care because some people are just petty losers, but... I don't care. You can do whatever you want. I just want to share my opinion with you guys because I know a lot of people are starting to play Heroes, and I have been playing for Heroes for a long time, and this is what I think is best just because of how I've played against people, just because of how things have come up, and I feel like this build really works for me. But again, that's just me. If you want something different, that's up to you. 1 increase. I don't want to play 2 increase because I don't feel like another reason why I'm not playing 3 Ferris is because I don't think the Ferris combo is necessary. It's good. It's good, but I don't think it's necessary for the deck anymore. I don't think a lot of the time you're going to start your combos by just fusing 2 things together and then going off. You don't really need the Ferris combo. It's basically most of the time just extra. I found that I don't really use it all that much, and if I do, it's because I have no other option. I have no mass change. I have no Hero Lives. I have no Fusion Destiny. It's not necessary, I think. And yeah, so I think 1 increase, 2 Ferris, really good. It's what I like to do. Anyway, then 2 Vion. I still think 2... Oh, jeez. I still think 2 Vion is good because, again, it's a good starter and it's a good extender, but I don't really want to see 2 in my opening hand. I mean, 2 is good, but I'd much rather see something like Stratos or something like, I don't know, anything. It's a really good starter, but it only really does the maximum value off their first turn play, or off the like on the first time you summon him, or on the Ferris play. So it's better to have him in the deck just because you can get him off Ferris, and as a normal summon, he's only ever good if you have another hero monster in hand. If not, you can go for the Sunrise and Absolute Zero play, but that's not as good as the normal play, and I don't know. It's weird, but 2 Vion. I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I threw my card. Poor card. I'm sorry. Anyway. Oh, I completely forgot. Okay, so what Increase does. Increase, when he's sent in the spawn trap card zone, can tribute a hero. I don't know if it's his cost. You contribute 1 hero monster as cost to special summon himself, and then when he's special summoned, he gets to summon a Vision Hero, usually Vion, from the deck. And then what Vion does is when he is normal or special summoned, he can send a hero monster from the deck to graveyard, and then that's on summon, and then as a ignition effect, you can ignition effect, meaning while he's on the field and like like just there, and it's your turn priority. Which is a whole other thing that like I might go over the basics of Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff, but I'm like you guys can tell I'm all over the place, so that might not be the best thing. But yeah, if he when he's on the field, you can banish a hero monster from the graveyard. Usually, it's either going to be Shadow Mist or Ferris. To grab Poly from your deck, which is really good because it gets you all your plays. Poly is you only play one, but it's really important. If they stop your Poly, you're kind of screwed unless you have Fusion Destiny, and that's good. In that case, yay. But anyway, 3 Stratos. I kept this from the last time. It's even better now because honestly, like I said, I'd rather have 2 Stratos just because Stratos searches any hero, anything that you need. It gets. I guess Vion is an extension of that because you can send Shadow Mist, but a lot of the time, just that's vulnerable to like a lot of the things in the format, like DD Crow, Bell, Called by the Grave. Just there's a lot of like graveyard hate in this format just because of Albaz, and a lot of that graveyard hate kind of hits you too. So I'd rather have something that can't be interrupted by Called by or DD Crow, because if they chain DD Crow to your not chain, but if they activate actually no, I don't think that works because it does hit the graveyard. It's just yeah, anyway, I'd rather not be interrupted by something like Bell or something by, I don't know. I don't like the extra step. It's just me. I just think Stratos is better. But and especially with 3 a hero lives now, Stratos, man, you can summon Stratos off of a hero lives if you already have a way of special summoning Shadow Mist, or if you just have nothing, you can special summon Stratos. If you have a Stratos in your hand, just special summon again, get another search, or pop a spell trap, which sometimes can really matter. Say they have Gozen match and you're like, you already summoned Stratos, like, okay, I'll summon Stratos, pop the Gozen match. It's pretty good, and none of the effects are once per turn, and the spell trap effect. Actually, I'll go over what Strato does right now. So what he does is when he's summoned, it doesn't have to be normal summoned, which is really insane. You can either search for any hero monster in your deck, not once per turn, or pop a spell trap up to the number of other hero monsters you control, and it doesn't target the spell trap. So you can literally just like, they do something, they're like, oh, I'll just activate this, and you're okay, I'll go for another one then. It's really fun. It's really funny when that happens because no one knows that the spell trap effect doesn't target, and if they do, they're just really good players. But not once per turn. Stratos is insane. Then we're going to go for 1 Liquid Soldier. Honestly, I could see the argument for 2, and once this card gets cheaper, I'll consider it. But right now, it's pretty expensive. So another alternative to Liquid Soldier is actually Solid Soldier. That card's like $3, and it does not nearly the same thing. It's much better with Liquid Soldier. But again, for you budget players, I do recommend that that you play Solid Soldier of this card. And if you want, play 2 Solid Soldiers. Just Solid Soldier kind of sucks. Because one Impermanent, it takes away your normal summon, can't do anything with it. It kind of sucks, unless you have, like, the perfect hand. But Liquid Soldier, what he does, when he is normal summoned, yes, it has to be normal summoned, unfortunately. For some reason, they just like to hit my hero cards hard. But on normal summon, he can bring back a level 1 to 4 hero monster from the graveyard. So this brings back your Shadow Mist, this brings back your Stratos, this brings back your Vion for comeback on the next turn, which is usually what I use it for. Or for just extending plays. If you haven't used your normal summon and they stop you and you have a Stratos engraved, you can just keep going. And that's honestly what I use the Ferris combo now for extension. And in case they stop me and I know I'm like protected for like with a cross out or something, I use it to just extend with Ferris, try to get more monsters on the field, try to get that Plasma, try to get that Cross Crusader. Yeah, just that's what I do, and it works. 2 Shadow Mist. Also, he has the effect when he's used as fusion material. It doesn't matter from where. It can be hand, grave, field. If he hasn't used his other effect, because you can only use one of either or effect per turn, you can draw 2 cards and discard 1, which comes in really clutch and is the whole reason why I play the Miracle Fusion package. That reason exclusively, because I wouldn't play the Sunrise or Absolute Zero if it didn't give you that advantage, because I'll explain why later. But So to Shadow Mist. Shadow Mist is sort of like basically just a way to get to Master Change if you can special summon it, which you hardly ever can unless you're using Solid Soldier, which I think is a bad card. Liquid Soldier, which is a better card but very situational, or A Hero Lives, which is now at 3, so that's good. And then again, only one of each effect per turn because it sucks. No, it doesn't suck. It's a good card, but it's just, I'm upset, man. They hurt my heroes for no reason. They wouldn't be that strong if you could use both effects of either card per turn. I mean, it'd be better, but it wouldn't be like flipping tier 1 like all the other I'm just upset. They might be. I don't know. I'm just upset because my hero cards are nerfed for no reason. Anyway, what it does when it's sent to the graveyard by anything, it's just when it's sent to when it goes to the graveyard, when it hits the graveyard, you can search for a hero monster. It's basically Stratos when it's sent to the graveyard. It's nerfed Stratos. And then when it's special summoned to the field, special summoned, not normal summoned, you can search for a mass change. That gets you Dark Law. And you can activate Mass Change on your opponent's turn, so it gets you to search. You can basically use both effects, but again, not in the same turn, which sucks. Because then it just opens up a lot. One, Honest Neos, because Honest Neos is a really good card. Honest Neos, I only play one, but one thing that that people don't realize is that the reason why I play 2 DPE, I'll explain that later, but let's just say this card comes in handy more times than not just being in the deck. And if you're just going for game, going for a little extra, you have an extra search off Shadow Mist or Stratos or the Cross Crusader, and you think, like, I'll just get rid of my Denier on field to search for this, and then you go for game, and then, or it's protection for your heroes, whether it be Plasma or Dark Law, if they try to attack over it, which is usually what people do, which is harder with DPE, but like some decks can still do it if they out your DPE or whatever. Then Honest Neos comes in clutch. What it does is you can activate the effect during either player's turn as a quick effect to discard the card to the graveyard, so they can call by it, but not in the damage step, which is why you always activate it in the damage step, unless you're using for extension, which you can do with Miracle Fusion. Which is sometimes what I do with Miracle Fusion, or with Dark Calling, which is a whole other thing. But I'll explain maybe in some other time. Anyway, you discard to the graveyard. It boosts your hero monsters by 2,500. It's better, honest, but it's a Neos because it's a hero. Then one Destiny Hero Denier. So one Denier because you don't really ever need more than one. You can send it off basically everything in your deck. You can add it off basically everything in your deck. You only need it to fusion summon the Phoenix Enforcer, and then once in your graveyard, it does everything you want it to be, just with one copy, and all effects are once per turn. One of them is even once per duel, and I'll explain that just now. When this card is normal special summon, so just hits the field for any reason, whether it be off Cross Crusader or its own effect, which I always recommend saving its effect for when you're like screwed. So like save its effect until you have to use it. If not, then always use Cross Crusader to bring it back, because it's just so much better that way. You get to proc its effect so many more times, and it's just, if you can bring it with Cross Crusader, it's usually better, because then you can save your his effect for when you really need it. But anyway, what he does is when he special summon, you can put to the top of your deck any Destiny Hero monster from your deck, graveyard, or is banished to the top of the deck. So if you draw 2 Malicious, you draw 2 Malicious, but you can fuse them both for DPE, which is something. You can put it back to the top of the deck. It is top of the deck. It isn't shuffled, which sucks, because it basically means you have to use it that turn, or you're drawing Malicious, which is going to be the worst feeling ever, because sometimes you forget, and sometimes you draw that card and you think, damn, I hate myself. But anyway, yeah, and then while he's in the graveyard, if you control another Destiny Hero monster on the field or in the graveyard, he can special himself out, so he can proc his own effect. If you, again, save it for when you need it, because usually you can bring it out with Cross Crusader, and that's just better. Yeah, so that's what he does. One of him. Then 2 Malicious, because Malicious is at 2. I would play... that's the wrong card. I would play more than 2 Malicious if Malicious were at 3, you play Malicious at 3. Yeah, you open 2 sometimes, but you know what? Most of the time it's worth it. So, it's at 2 because Konami's rude, and It's scared of malicious. Which, you know, they could have rotted to put it to once to only summon hero monsters for the rest of the turn, and it'd be completely fine in heroes. But then that would mean it'd stop Dark Heroes. But you know what? Bring malicious back to 3. I think it would be fine. I don't think anything bad would happen. No one would, like, no deck is gonna go funky just because they have an extra malicious. I mean, they can already use the malicious engine with the denier if they want to. So yeah, 2 malicious. What he does is when he's in the graveyard, you can banish him to summon a malicious from deck. It's a really simple effect, but it's one of the most powerful in the game, and why he basically exists on the semi-limited list forever. Sometimes they bring him back to 3, and then they go like, yeah, you know what, we don't want to do this anymore. And then I cry. Anyway, 1 Plasma, because he is very searchable, and he is one of your boss monsters. Don't play 2 Plasma. I mean, you can play 2 Plasma if you want, but I don't. You don't want to see 2 Plasma. You don't. Most of the time, you can only summon him once. You can only get the materials out once first turn. And if you can get him out turn 2, then great. There's probably something better you can do and easier to summon that does more. But again, he's basically your main play. Your end board is usually just DPE with Plasma and then some stuff in hand, follow up for next turn, because usually that's enough if they don't have any funky stuff, which sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It all depends. But usually the DPE and the Plasma are enough to stop your opponent, so you get another turn and then you do stuff. Unless they have Super Poly, which then they have Super Poly, and that sucks. But anyway, let's go on to the next card. 1 Adjusted Gold, because again, searchable, very searchable, and you don't want to play more than 1, because you don't play more than 1 Bane in the extra deck, and this card is useless without that. So you don't want to play more than 1 Dark Calling either, because that would be just awful. Why would you do that? Anyway, what Adjusted Gold does... Oh, I forgot Plasma. Man, see, I'm all over the place. Anyway, what Plasma does is he doesn't do anything on summon, but while he's on the field, it's a skill drain. If you don't know what that means, it negates all of your opponent's on-field monster effects. And once per turn, during your turn, you can target a monster your opponent controls and equip them to Plasma, and Plasma gains half their attack, which makes him bigger, which is really cool. It's okay for going second, but a lot of the times your opponent interrupts you enough so that you can't get 3 monsters on the field besides DPE, which is like what you want to do with Plasma. Usually you're better off going for an easier play, such as the Liquid Soldier and Adjusted Gold play. But sometimes you can clear your opponent's board, and that's great. And then you go for Plasma, and they can't do anything. But I don't know. Sometimes. But anyway, what Adjusted Gold does is you can discard him to search Dark Fusion or Dark Calling. That's it. That's literally it. It gets you into Bane, basically for free. But anyway, let's go on to the hand traps. So I switched this up from last time. I actually took 1 Ash out because a Hero Lives and Change of Heart are just too good. I'll explain why Change of Heart is much better than what's it called? Mind Control, and why I think it's such a big deal that it's back, and it's crazy that it's back, because yeah. But anyway, these are just cross-out targets. I'm playing cross-out in the deck because, again, the way the meta is now, I think Despia Branded is going to be the best deck coming after the ban list, just because they basically lost nothing. They don't really need Anaconda, and they don't use Auroradon. They don't, like, they can still play DPE even without playing, like, literally with just playing 1 Destiny hero, just because of the Light Hex Sealed Fusion, or they can just play the DP engine and not care, because 2 Fusion Destiny is still pretty good in a Fusion deck, where it's like sometimes you see DP and you're like, oh, that's great. But I think Nibiru is just in here because I fear this card to the flipping everyone uses it. Everyone uses it. Everyone. I don't know if it's going to be used in I only really play at locals, and I did go to a regional, and I did pretty well, but I usually top locals, and I always top with this deck. So it's like, and there are pretty good people at locals, like play meta. So I'm like, yeah. Anyway, everyone is playing these 3 cards. This one kills Adventure Package, and it kills you because it stops your... Like, if you use Plasma and they Ghost Ogre, you're just like, nah. If you use Plasma's effect to equip or anything. If you use Increase and that's all you have, you get rid of your card, they get rid of your Increase, and you're left with just your normal summon, which sometimes is enough, but most of the time it isn't. They can Ghost Ogre your Cross Crusader, and then you don't get the extra search, which most of the time really hurts, because you can only use one of his effects each time per turn. You can summon another Cross Crusader if you can, but then you can't summon back for free, and then you have to use even more resources to get that one search, which usually isn't worth it. So Ghost Ogre really hurts the deck. Ghost Bell, everyone is going to be playing this just because of the Despia, how strong it is, how all of them use cards from the graveyard to either shuffle back or banish. The cards in the graveyard to fusion summon. This stops them. This stops Branded in Red, which is a key card in their interruption of your turn. It's going to be a really popular hand trap. It has been a really popular hand trap. And same thing with DD Crow. You can play DD Crow instead of this, depending on what happens in your locals or if you're going to regionals. I would switch the Nibiru out for DD Crow because I think most people aren't main decking Nibiru just because, like, it's good against Adventure, but it's not good against Adventure Despia, which I think is going to be the best deck. Actually, no, I don't even think Adventure Despia is going to be the best deck. I just think Despia, like either pure Despia or Despia Branded is going to be the best deck. That's just what I think. But again, Ash, again, it's always there. It hurts you. If literally your only thing is Stratos and a Prayer, your only thing is Stratos and a Prayer, and Ash kind of ruins Stratos and a Prayer. And then Nibiru, again, I think because a lot of people are maining Nibiru, but not as much as they're maining all of these three. Just everyone knows me at my locals, so I'm playing this in my. But this, if you don't think that it's going to be a big deal, you can switch this out for like DD Crow or anything else, or just take it out. This is a 42, 43 card deck. I don't remember which one. But again, I'm mediating that with another card that I'm playing, which I'll show you guys now. But anyway, let's go over what they do. Nibiru, if your opponent summons more than 5 or more times during the turn, during the main phase, you can activate its effect, tribute all cards on the field, summon the Nibiru, give your opponent a token with the combined attack of all the cards. That's why, and because Heroes has no protection, your opponent can literally just wait until you're ending your turn, declare on end of main phase Nibiru, and all you can do is just use Phoenix Enforcer to pop your Plasma, and then keep the Nibiru in hand, and then cry. And then Ash, what it does is when your opponent attempts to add a card from deck to hand, draw cards, or special summon a card from the deck, you can discard Ash to stop that. Just negate the effect. Ghost Bell, what it does is when your opponent attempts to move cards out of the graveyard, you can say no. Oh, my poor card. I'm sorry, Bell. Anyway, yeah, and then Ghost Ogre, what it does is when an effect is activated on the field, or when a spell or trap card that has been on the field, or like not immediately activated, but an activation after it's first activated. If that makes okay, so like continuous spells and spells and traps and field spells have to be activated, and then they usually have an effect. So they like that you can activate while they're on the field. It's not on activation, and some are, but a lot of them aren't. You can Ghost Ogre that, and it destroys the card. That's what I mean. Or when a monster effect is activated on the field, you could activate the effect to destroy that monster, and that really hurts the Adventure engine because it is a continuous spell card. That the Fateful Adventure is a continuous spell card that they only really play one of, and it also hurts field spell cards, which is Flunderies, which like Ghost Ogre kills Flunderies, and then it doesn't really hurt Branded. It hurts it sometimes. Like if they just have the normal summon Fallen Valbaz, you just Ghost Ogre and it's whatever. But all the other hand traps are really good. The Ghost Ogre is just really for the Fateful Adventure, the Adventure package, which didn't get hit at all in the ban list, which is fine. I didn't think it would. I think they still want to sell the stuff in the Megatins, which is cool because I want the cheap Adventure stuff. But anyway, let's go on to the next card. Pot of Prosperity. Again, I think the hero deck now is meant for going first. I don't think it's a going second deck anymore. If you do think so, you can play it going second, and this card, again, not the worst, because you don't need to OTK your opponent to win most of the time. Usually you just clear their field and put up a board that they can't recover from, which is something that a lot of people that I've seen don't really understand. Like, you don't have to OTK your opponent to win in one turn. You just have to clear their field and make sure they can't get it back. Usually, putting up Plasma does that. Same thing with putting Plasma and DPE, except does it better. But anyway, Pot of Prosperity is here. I don't want to play 3 copies because I don't want to see 2 copies in my hand. It sucks. It's happened so much before, and I think 2 is better. And it also sort of mediates the extra cards in your deck because you can, like, if you're really in a pinch, you can banish 6 if you think like, oh my gosh, if I don't draw this card, I'm gonna lose the game. Which doesn't usually happen. Usually you have a good enough hand. But usually you're ever only banishing 3, and I'll tell you which 3 are the ones that I usually banish. But actually, I'll tell you right now because that makes more sense. Usually the ones, so this is a new addition to the deck, but I'm either going to banish Dangerous, him, and Acid. Where the hell's Acid? There's Acid. So these are the 3 that I usually banish, just because Phoenix Enforcer is better. Anki comes up sometimes, but not always. All you really need is the attack, because you can usually just clear the field. And Acid, it's only ever mass changing the Absolute Zero, which isn't the best, or the Liquid Soldier, which again happens, but most of the time you're going to be using mass change first turn for Dark Law. So you draw. It just basically makes your card, like your deck, more accessible. Like, you can see the cards you want to see, and you can banish 6. Like, there are other cards that you don't really need to keep. Like, you don't need 2 copies of Dark Law, you don't need 2 copies of Phoenix Enforcer, and you don't really, the Blast is important, just because of imperm and stuff. And then the Dread Decimator, like, yeah, it helps OTK, but again, if they can't clear your board, you basically win anyway. So you can go for 6 if you need to. I just prefer keeping the extra cards in the extra deck just because it's so useful. It's like, the cards don't seem like they'd come up a lot of the time, but the Dress Decimator gets you to game so much easier. The Anki, it does come up for if you have a mass change and your opponent has like 2700, or if you just need that extra little attack off mass change to go for game. Or the what was the other one? Acid. It does come up. It does come up sometimes. Like, if you all you have is Vion and like all hand traps or whatever, you can go for the Absolute Zero and Sunrise play and like discard something. Maybe get a Fusion Destiny. Who knows? But yeah. It comes up. So what it does is you can banish 3 or 6 cards from your extra deck face down, so your opponent doesn't get to know, and you get to choose the cards, which is better. Then you excavate 3 to 6 cards based on the number that you banished, and then add 1 of them to hand. So it's not drawing. You can get drolled, which sucks, but yeah. Then I'm playing, actually, I took out the E-Emergency Call. This is only here because I don't know where I put my Ultra Hero Lives. I had it somewhere. Maybe I traded it away and didn't remember. Maybe whatever. But I'm gonna try to get. I'm gonna try that for sure. A Hero Lives is at 3. This is just a placeholder for the Hero Lives because I don't know. It's pretty. But Hero Lives at 3. Insane. This does so much for the deck. So before. The big problem with the like, one thing that was really just inconsistent was getting Dark Law out on the field, just because the only way you could really do it is a Solid Soldier or Liquid Soldier, or discard a Hero Lives. And Hero Lives used to be at 1, which sucks. But because there were so many better cards that are off the ban list, and it took them this long to flipping do it, but I'm glad they finally did. So a Hero Lives at 3. It's insane. So it's your starter, it's Ash Bait, it does everything you want the deck to do. Most of the time your opponent will not be able to clear a Dark Law, a Plasma, and a DPE, and with this you can get it. But most of the time, it saves your resources because you can get that Dark Law. Dark Law is just as good as a boss monster as Plasma. So usually you just end on Dark Law and DPE. It takes way less summons. Usually you end off below Nibiru. And it's just insane. A Hero Lives is crazy. You can summon Stratos as a starter. You can summon Shadow Mist as just a Dark Law. Or even summon a Shadow Mist just so you can go for game with Mass Change and use Shadow Mist as material. It's crazy. It's so versatile. It's so good. Just having that extra monster on field is crazy. And it's something that Heroes couldn't do before very consistently. Even with 2, 3 just heightens the consistency so much. And 2 a Hero Lives, it's not the best, but I'd rather 2 a Hero Lives than 2 anything else in the deck. Just to be honest, just because if they clear your board, you get basically a free just anything. Because Stratos is anything, and Shadow Mist is a Dark Law. Or extension, or like it's literally Dark Law is any of the master heroes in your extra deck. So it's a blast to get rid of spell traps on at quick spell speed. So if they have to activate something, then you can just chain. It's a what's it called? It's a acid off of Liquid Soldier. Um, I'm going into the mass change explanation right now, but it's a Dark Law in case they have they have Forbidden Droplets. They can't chain Forbidden Droplets because they have to send to the graveyard. So if that's the only thing that they have, and or if they have something that has to send to the graveyard, then they're done. But yeah, so a hero lives at 3. This is a placeholder. 3 hero lives for sure. I took out emergency call and I'll explain why. Actually, I'll explain why now. It's we're here. I took out the emergency call because I think there are just better options in the deck. I'd rather play the crossout package. Like, and you might disagree with the crossout package, but I think with the fact that Branded is a fusion deck, and the fact that all of the hand traps that hit Branded kill this deck, I think crossout is necessary, and it's the same thing for the last deck profile I did. And if you want like the same explanation, you can go over there. But I think that it's necessary. I think that a lot of the cards kill your deck. If you are going for regionals, I recommend switching the Nibiru out for Lance. Actually, Lancia doesn't hurt it. Never mind. But it does hurt Flounderies, which a lot of people are scared of. So if at least side deck Lancia to be able to put it in. Scythe isn't that much of a problem, but again, if you do want to put the Scythe in your deck just as like a 3 of, so you can see it, and then because Scythe isn't out one, Scythe didn't get hit, which I'm upset about. But if you want to play Scythe, you can you can take some cards out, play Scythe, and you can do it with DP, you can do it with Sunrise, you can do it with basically anything. So Sunrise is bad because it's in the battle phase, but anyway, 3 Hero Lives, really good card. 1 Rhoda, I kept this in over E-Emergency Call because this searches your Destiny Heroes as well. It searches, it searches your Destiny Heroes. That's basically it. It searches Denier. That's why it's better. Because, yeah, it also searches Vion, which is also better. This basically E-Call is better, which is probably why it's at 1, and E-Call is at 3. But what it does is when, oh, I completely forgot. So this is when you have no cards on field, you can special summon a monster to the field, an elemental hero monster. So it's either Stratos or Shadow Mist or Liquid Soldier if you want it, but usually you don't. Anyway, this one, what it does is you can add 1 level 4 hero monster, warrior monster, to your hand, just willy-nilly, out of the blue, and it's not once per turn. But it might as well be because it's at 1. Anyway, now 2 Fusion Destiny. This is the best starter in your deck. You send Denier Malicious. This 1 card gets you a Plasma and a DP on the field. It takes more than 5 summons, but yeah, just this card alone gets you a full combo, and it's good. And my roommates are playing music, but that's okay because we're doing this. So what this card does is, I'll read it for you. You can fusion summon 1 hero monster, 1 fusion monster, Destiny hero monster. Actually, no, it's just 1 fusion monster from your extra deck that mentions a Destiny hero monster. That's actually crazy. That opens up some cool card design in the future. So using your monsters from hand or deck from as fusion material, but for the rest of the turn, you can only summon dark hero monsters. So this cuts off your Sunrise and Liquid Soldier play, which is, if you telegraph that your opponent has Nibiru, say it's game 2 or something, you can literally just do the Sunrise Absolute Zero play, and they think like, oh, they're playing the old version of Heroes. They're broke. They can't afford DP. And then you end your turn and they Nibiru, and you're like, yeah, okay, I'll Fusion Destiny and do the whole other combo just by itself. And then you're like, yeah, screw you and your Nibiru. But yeah, that's something that I've done in the past. It's something that I did at a regional and it won me the game, which is really cool. But it's a really good card, best card in your deck. Now, the Miracle Fusion package. You might think, wow, Sunrise sucks, and Absolute Zero sucks, especially when you can do Fusion Destiny and lock yourself out of heroes. And I say yes, but I don't play this for the fact that you can OTK with Sunrise and Absolute Zero, or for the attack boost, or for the Absolute Zero effect. Those are just bonuses. The whole reason I play this is because you're not always going to start with Fusion Destiny. You can start with Fusion Destiny, and with Prosperity, it's more likely that you start with Fusion Destiny, but a lot of the time you're going to be starting with the fairest thing, again, searching out Stratos and or off Stratos off of Hero Lives, or off whatever. Sometimes you open Ferris and you have another hero and like whatever. So you're gonna be opening with that, and that's how you get to your DP and Plasma. Which again, it's probably not as good. Actually, people aren't maining Nibiru. Actually, some people are. Sorry, I'm all over the place. It's just like I'm saying something, then I remember something, and but anyway. So this I just use it as an advantage, and it's basically a way to get to your big cards. So the reason for this is Liquid Soldier's effect. So what you do is if you say need a card, say you're fishing for a Fusion Destiny because you telegraph that they have something in your hand, or basically again baiting them out with the what's it called, with the Absolute Zero Sunrise play. Then you basically get an advantage engine off of Liquid Soldier, because every time you use the fusion material, like I said, you can draw 2 cards and discard 1. And that discard is really good for heroes because we have Shadow Mist and Malicious and Denier to an extent in the deck. And again, if you have Liquid Soldier, you can literally pitch anything. Actually, no, you use that for Sunrise, so never mind. Yeah, it's just draw 2, and then you can save the Miracle Fusion for the next turn to make Absolute Zero. And then that's another draw 2, discard 1, which gets you more advantage. It gets you. I just use this as an advantage engine, and that I think is something that a lot of people don't think of. It's just basically free because you can go Sunrise, and then use the Sunrise for material. You can use it to link summon Cross Crusader, or if you already used Cross Crusader, then Wonder Driver to get the poly back. And then go into your DP and Plasma play right off. Most of the time you can do that. I've done it a lot. It's a great way to extend, great way to dig into your deck, get rid of cards that you don't want in your hand, or that are better off being in the graveyard. Maybe you draw something that you don't want in your hand, but is great in the graveyard, say Malicious. And you don't know how to get it out, and you have like, hey, I can make Sunrise, and with hey, I have Liquid Soldier and like a way to get poly. Then you use that, and it's just a great way to extend because you get the extra monster on field, and it's a great way to get advantage, and that's why I play this engine. It's not because I think like Sunrise and Absolute Zero grid this format. No, I don't think that. I think they're okay. I think they're like what past heroes used to be, but the deck is much different now. I just use this because it's a great advantage engine. It's 1 extra card in the main deck, and it is 2 cards in the extra deck, but I think that's fine. Especially with Vertig gone, I think this is even better now. But that's just me. That's what I think. You can think differently. I don't care if you do. If you do, please tell me in the comments, because we can have a discussion and we can see what we think. 1 poly, because poly's good, but you could play more than 1 poly. I could see playing more than 1 poly, but I don't think that's the best, because you can recur it in the graveyard with Wonder Driver. You could just use it. You have Fusion Destiny, you have Miracle Fusion, you have good cards, so you don't need more than 1 poly. 1 Dark Calling to use your Dusted Gold and level 5 or higher hero monster to get out Bane. Did I explain what everything does? Oh, this uses monsters on the field and graveyard by banishing them, and this is just the fusion spell. And this is another fusion spell using hand and graveyard as material. Then 3, Crossout Designator. I think this is the most important card in Heroes right now. I think if you don't have this card in Heroes, you can't play competitively, because just the way the meta is now, just the way everything is now, the hand traps people are using, the way it interacts with your deck, and just the amount of hand traps people are using. I think this card, Called By is great, but it's at 1. If you could play 3 Called By, then Crossout wouldn't be as necessary. It'd still be better, but it's just a better Crossout. Sorry, a better Called By, because you can call any card. But especially in the mirror match, this is insane. Not that you'll ever be playing hero mirror match at a competitive event, which sometimes you might. Sorry, my roommates. But anyway, Crossout, what it does is you can, when you're, literally adding time during any turn because it's a quick play, actually not during the damage step, but at other places. So you can activate the effect, banish, or declare a card name. And that it has to be in your deck, because you have to banish it from your deck to negate the effect of that card. So say your opponent activates Nibiru, you activate Crossout, call Nibiru, banish Nibiru, and Nibiru's effects are negated. So he does stay in hand, but you're no longer Nibiru'd, and your opponent can't do it again because you most likely won't be summoning 5 times again, because Plasma and Dark Law are good cards. So you can only activate once per turn, but this is really just really good, and it really just saves the deck a lot. And especially, I don't think you can play competitively without this. And if you disagree, that's okay. We can discuss it in the comments. You can hopefully, I hope my last hero deck profile got a lot of views. Well, like 500, but for me that's a lot. So I think 500 people just looking at the same thing. That's insane. But anyway, yeah, I think if you want to discuss, please discuss in the comments, because I think it's a really valid discussion to have. I think that a lot of people might think differently, but I think that having that discussion is important, and you can see why other people think the way they are, seeing their experiences. Because let's say you only play at locals and you think, Crossout's not that bad. That might be because not everyone at your locals is playing a lot of hand traps, and you think like, yeah, it's not a big deal. But then that one meta guy comes into your locals and like ruins your crap, and you're like, damn. Crossout would have been nice. But again, it's an expensive card, so you don't have to use it, but I think it's really good. 3 Mass Chains, so I already explained sort of like this off the Hero Lives, but I explained what Crossout did off the Hero Lives. So with this card, you can target one hero monster you control. It can be face down, which is really cool, but because it's a fusion card. Actually, I don't know if that's why, but I just know it can be activated when your hero's face down. So if you set Shadow Mist, set Mass Change, you can actually ban, which people don't know, but you can. Anyway, you can target one hero monster you control, use the card as a fusion material, basically solo fusion material, to summon a masked hero from your extra deck. Basically, masked heroes are the only ones that you can summon. And yeah, so yeah. You do that. It's a fusion. It's a 1-card fusion or 2-card fusion, sort of, because you use this one and the other one. It is a 2-card fusion, but anyway, so it's really good because like I already explained the versatility of this card. I already explained why it makes heroes so much better. Also, Dark Law is insane. You don't really even need all the others. If Dark Law was the only one that you could go into, you'd still play it, because Dark Law is one of the best cards ever. He's my favorite card. I love him. I have an ulti. It's my favorite card that I own for sure. But I got it when it was cheap, man. Oh my god, not cheap. It was like $150, but $150 compared to like 700, it's kind of a lot. It's a big difference. Or like 500, I guess it's at now. 2 Forbidden Droplets. Yeah, you can play 3 of this, but I don't like seeing 2 Forbidden Droplets in my opening hand, which is why I play 3. And also, a lot of the time you're wanting to go first, but this card is still decent going going first, which is why I play it at 2. If not, you could just side the Forbidden Droplets if you're going second, for sure, main deck as many as you can. If you can't afford them, because I know they're really expensive, then go for like Dark Ruler No More, or Dark Ruler No More. But yeah, this is basically the only card that works like Dark Ruler No More, just because you can't respond with cards with it to it. So and it does need you to send to the graveyard. So if you're under Macro, or if you're under Dimensional Fissure, actually you can under Dimensional Fissure if you send spells and traps, which is interesting. Or if you're under Dark Law, if you somehow face the mirror, then this is what can't do. But anyway, you can activate the effect. Discard cards up to the number. Well, you can discard as many technically, but it's just up to the number of monsters effect monsters your opponent controls. Discard them to the graveyard as cost to negate the effect non-targeting of that many monsters on the field. Which is why usually you don't want to go for all of them, because if you do, then they can just tribute off the one they want to go off, or like do something to the one they want to go off, or something they want to protect, and you can't do anything to it because they know which. I mean, they usually know which one you're gonna do, but like, it's just better. Anyway, and then you negate their effects, and they can't respond with the cards type. So if you send that you sent from your hand to the graveyard. So if you send a trap, they can't respond with traps. If you send a spell, they can't respond with spells. If they send a monster, if you send a monster, they can't respond with monsters, which is usually what you do, because it's the one, like that one card that can, like, no one can get over. That's how you get over it. It's same thing with Dark Ruler. Anyway, one infinite impermanence for the crossout. So what this card does is you can, if there you have no cards on the field, or no cards on the field, you can activate from your hand, and you can activate the card to negate target a monster and then negate its effects for the turn. Also, when it's set and you flip it over, and you activate the effect has to resolve for this to happen. So it has to negate the effect, it has to do everything, and it can't like miss the targeted monster, like whatever. It has to resolve. Cards that are activated in the same column that are spells and traps are negated for the turn. So if your opponent makes a mistake and activates, let's say, a fusion card, the fusion doesn't go off because the card doesn't go off. It's really good, and it's just cross out. Everyone's using Imperm just because it stops a Luber, just because it stops Griffin, it stops whatever, it stops a lot of stuff. Next, we're going to go one Called Out of the Grave. It's basically just an extra cross out that can't do anything to Nibiru, which sucks. Which is why crossout is a little bit better, especially for this deck. But it's really good. It stops Lancia, it stops everything. It sucks that it's only a 1 of. I would play this at 3 if it were at 3, but I don't know if that's happening soon. And this card, I'm so excited for dude, I haven't played with this card since I was like 6, no, that's not true. I played the DS game, so I played it until like I was like 15. But like, dude, I haven't played with Change of Heart since I was a kid. This card, I'm putting it in all my decks, mainly because it's really good, and but also because, dude, Change of Heart in 2022, that's insane. I love that this card, I mean, it sucks. It's mixed feelings. One, I'm really excited because, dude, Change of Heart, but also really, like, scared because, dude, Change of Heart. So, anyway, the reason why I think this is better than Mind Control. They're both at 1, so you can play both of them, which I don't want to do because I just don't like Mind Control. I don't. The main reason why it's better is because you can attack, and there are no restrictions with my. There's no real. I mean, you can attack with it for the turn, but this opens up so much because a lot of the boss monsters that people keep on the field. Are monsters that can do a lot of damage and that make it a lot easier to OTK. Say your opponent has, it does target, which sucks, but it's still insane. Say your opponent has, I don't know. Let's say you're facing the mirror and they have Dark Claw. You can literally just Change of Heart, and then it's yours. Or let's say it just trades for a negate because no one in their right mind is going to let Change of Heart go off. No one is going to let you steal their monster and use their effects. Mind Control, the only reason it's not being played is because it's at 1. But Change of Heart, it sucks going first, but going second and every turn after that, it wins games. It wins games by itself. Maybe not as much as before, but definitely if you steal your opponent's, then there's very few monsters that what's it called, that can't be targeted right now in the meta. Like, none of the Sword Soul monsters say they can't be targeted. None of the Despia monsters that they use say they can't be targeted. Actually, let me read Guardian Chimera real quick because I think, is it the effect with Polly in the graveyard that it can't be destroyed or it can't be targeted? But let's put this there. Okay. Yeah, while you're polymerization in the graveyard. Most of the time they aren't making it with polymerization. And if they do, it's just with the Edgem Chain, which is very interruptible. And again, DD Crow is really popular in the format. So if you want to play DD Crow, you can play DD Crow. But Change of Heart, I think, is just insane. I think that it's just, it makes OTKs so much easier, especially if you want to make a going second build. You can play Mind Control and this, so it's basically at 2, except this one's better, and it's prettier, and it's classic Yu-Gi-Oh! And man, this is one of my favorite cards of all time, and I'm so glad that I get to play it. So if you don't want to play it, you can change this for something like maybe an extra hand trap to get off a cross out, maybe an extra copy of a hand trap if you think like, oh hey, I want to play more hand traps. Or if you want the e-call or any other search cards, or anything that you disagree with my ratios, you can take this out and put it in. But I think this card is insane, and I think that playing it is like, everyone's going to play it. Everyone's going to play it. And if they don't, I will be very surprised. Anyway, let's go for the extra deck. Man, we're at 50 minutes. I've been going off, man. Okay, so this one isn't organized because some reason, whatever. Anyway, we're playing actually, let's go for the Masked Heroes. So we're playing 2 Dark Laws, 1, whatever, 2 Dark Laws, and there. Okay, so let's go over the Masked Heroes. So first, Anki. This is one of the cards that you usually get off, banish off of Prosperity. What this card does is if it destroys a monster by battle, you can add a mass change from your deck to your hand. And then it's a quick play. That's not once per turn, so you can activate it again, get a Dark Law, activate. If you have more, then activate again, and whatever. Or it can half its attack and attack directly, which comes up barely ever. It does not come up. The only effect that's ever going to come up is the mass change effect, because you're always going to be able to get over your opponent, especially with DPE, especially with Plasma, especially with Bane. You're just always going to be able to get your opponent's monsters off the field, and if you can't, then you're going to lose. Because then they'll be able to get your monsters off the field, and but this is something that's not really necessary. You can actually change Anki for anything you want. I don't think it's necessary in the deck. I just play it because it does come up sometimes, and it gives me an easy banish off Prosperity. That doesn't really hurt the deck. Another one is Acid. This is another one of the banishes of Prosperity that I think is best, just because it only comes up when you have Absolute Zero or Liquid Soldier, which you usually use for, if you use Liquid Soldier, you're going to, like, most of the time you're linking him off for Cross Crusader, or you're using him for Fusion Material just for that advantage engine that I said. Anyway, when you do get this out, it's a Harpy's Feather Duster. So when it's summoned, you can activate the effect to, decrease your opponent's attack by 500. Oh my goodness. All monsters your opponent controls decrease their attack by 500, which is insane. But the less good effect, no, actually the actual good effect, and the reason people play this card, is because it can destroy all your opponent's spell and traps when it's summoned. It's good. It's a good card, but it comes up a lot less than it used to, because before your main play was Sunrise and Absolute Zero, and then nothing. So that was that, but it's not as good now, but I think it's still good. Then 1 Masked Hero Blast. This is really good, and I think if you're playing against Flunderies, you're going to want to make this, even if you're going second, because a lot of the people won't know to activate, or like if you're going first and you play against if you know you're playing against Flunderies, I recommend leaving this card on the field, just because it's a way to out their field spell. How do you do that? I don't know. Same thing with Fateful Adventure. This is basically another copy of Ghost Ogre, and here is why. So, Masked Hero Blast. When he's summoned, he has your opponent one monster that your opponent's controls. It halves their attack for the turn. Actually, not for the turn, forever, I think. Either for the turn or forever. Yeah, no, forever. And then once per turn, during either player's turn, as a quick effect, you can activate its effect to bounce a spell or trap card your opponent controls back to the hand. Now, why is this the same as Ghost Ogre and Ghost Ogre? So, your opponent, let's say your opponent plays the field spell. Say you're like, yeah, whatever, I don't have any response. Then they activate the field spell effect, or the quick play, or the continuous spell. So either Fateful Adventure or the Magnificent Map is what you're going to see. You then chain Masked Hero Blast. They have a card on the field. They can't imperm. If they have Droplet, they have Droplet. But Flunderies doesn't play Droplet, and I guess the adventure stuff does, but like and most of the people don't know what Blast does, so it's like they go whatever. And then you bounce the card back. Now, both of those cards are both hard once per turn, so that means they can activate the card, but they can't activate the effect of the card, which is fine, because then they can't use the effect of the card, and a whole half of their strategy is gone just because you left Masked Hero Blast, or just because you because you left Masked Hero Blast on the field. So if ever you're left with basically nothing except for a Stratos and a Prayer, and you happen to have Mass Change in your hand, So just search something for follow-up, maybe a Liquid Soldier, and activate the mass change on the Stratos. And if you that is if you're playing Flenderies or someone who plays Adventure, just because it works out really well. And it also really hurts Plunder Patrol because you can bounce back their cards, which are all once per turn. And then Mass Hero Darklaw. Master Hero Darklaw. Oh, I just said I got low battery, but anyway. Master Hero Darklaw. What he does is that he does nothing on summon. You summon him, he's a dark, he's 2400, he's big, which actually matters a lot more because Phoenix Enforcer is in the format, and Phoenix Enforcer lowers the attack of everyone. But anyway, Darklaw, what he does, while he's on the field, every card that your opponent sends to the graveyard, whether it be from deck, whether it be by hand, whether it be discard, whether it be from the X deck, whether it be from literally any time that your opponent would get a card in the graveyard, it is banished instead. Now, another cool interaction is that you're playing against pendulums. Now, you'd think that the pendulums would go into the X deck and not get banished because they don't go to the graveyard. But for some reason, I don't know the exact reason. Maybe it's because they like fake go to the graveyard first. I don't know. But when pendulum cards are destroyed or leave the field, they are banished instead because of Darklaw. Because reasons. I don't know. If you want to search up that interaction, I'm not the best person to explain. But it's really cool. One of my favorite interactions in Yu-Gi-Oh! But anyway, it does that. But that's not all. It's not only Macrocosmos. It's not only one-sided Macrocosmos. It's better because every time, once per turn. Sorry, not every time. If it were every time, that would be, oh my gosh, this card would be broken as hell. But once per turn, when your opponent adds a card from their deck to the hand, whether it be by drawing, whether it be by adding from the deck, not from graveyard, but from deck to hand, you can activate effect to randomly discard or banish, because every card sent to the graveyard is banished instead, one card from your opponent's hand. Now, this comes in handy because a lot of the times there's one key search that your opponent does that if you stop, they are screwed. And usually they have material, as say you're playing Despia Branded, they usually have something in hand that they want to keep in hand. So you activate this effect, you have a chance to get rid of that and get rid of some good cards. Say they have an Imperm, say they have a Forbidden Droplet, say they have any card that would help them, it gets rid of it. And you can, this is not a hard once per turn. So if you had another copy of Mass Change and say they have another search card that you know of, and they can only search that one other thing, you literally just summon another Darklaw and then get the other card. But yeah, Darklaw is insane. Probably it's my favorite card in the deck. Now, the new addition to the deck is Destiny Hero Dangerous. So this, again, is a flex spot. I don't think you need to play this. I just play it because it can come up. It's easier to summon off DP, off the second, what's it called? Off the second Fusion Destiny, and it lets you summon the second DP off the Fusion Destiny because you can reset mass polymerization, activate this. If you have a high level Destiny hero or hero monster, then you could just summon DP with that. If you have to, I mean, usually that's not going to happen, but if you have to, then you can. But it's also a good extender because, or a good starter if you have nothing else and you think you can get DP in another way. It's a good starter because you can activate Fusion Destiny or any card that summons it. Then, as a quick effect, you can send a Destiny hero monster from your deck to the graveyard. So, a cool combo that you can do is this makes Vion a 1-card DPE because you summon. What's it called? You summon. Fusion Destiny into... No, I don't even remember what it is. But anyway, no, I do remember. Okay, so you normal summon Vion, then you send Malicious, you send Shadow Mist, sorry. You activate Shadow Mist to search Malicious, then banish Shadow Mist to get Poly, then you activate Poly on Vion and Malicious, summon this, send Denier, what's it called? Activate Denier, summon back, make, what's it called? Wonder Driver, then summon back Malicious, activate the effect, and, yeah, then something. I don't know the combo exactly. I haven't played with the combo too much, but there's some combo that gets you 1-card DPE with Vion. But yeah. Anyway, that's that. Actually, one card and another card. Sorry, it's whatever. But my bad. Ignore that whole part. Anyway, then we're playing. Then we're playing 2 Cross Crusader. Cross Crusader is the best extended in the deck. It's why Branded Heroes doesn't work, because you just lose so much of the deck. At least I don't think it works. I don't think it's worth it. I think Pure Heroes is way better. But anyway, when it's summoned, you can summon back a Destiny Hero monster, any Destiny Hero monster, including Phoenix Enforcer, or Dangerous if you want, but you don't want. But usually you're going to summon back Denier from your graveyard, and then as an ignition effect, you can activate its effect, send or tribute a monster or a Destiny Hero monster on the field. To search for a hero monster. So it's an extender that's insane. It gets you, it's either free extension, or it gets you even more extension because your Destiny hero monsters all do stuff. So it's basically free if you just summon him, which is really good. Then we're playing 1 Bane because Bane is really good, and it's just, again, 2 cards in the main deck for something so incredibly good. So, and it works really well with DPE because he can't be destroyed by card effects. So you can make the effective DPE go off without losing any cards if you have him on the field. But usually you want to save him for a comeback mechanic because clearing your opponent's board as a Raigeki is really good, which is why I'll explain his effect right now. So, during your main phase, so just during your main phase, you can activate its effect to destroy all your opponent's monsters that have attack equal or less to his, which is 3,000. And it gains attack, a 200 attack for every monster it destroyed. So it gains even more attack to be able to get over bigger things. But you can't attack with heroes that aren't with monsters that aren't hero monsters for the rest of the turn, which is like good because all your monsters are hero monsters. So that's what Bane does. It's really easy, and it can get you into DPE if you have to, which is really cool. What I do late game is if I have the second DPE in my hand and I have a way of getting Malicious on the field, I'll make Bane, clear the board with Bane, then attack, do all the damage, and then if I have enough monsters on field, make Cross Crusader. Bring back a Destiny Hero monster, and then use Bane and the Destiny Hero monster as fusion material to make DPE, and it works really well. Then let's go over the extra heroes. Well, I already went over some of them, but let's go over these 2. So this one, it's basically every card, every hero monster that hero monster that it points to. Sorry, man, this thing has gone long, and I'm tired of talking. Anyway, every hero monster it points to gains 100 attack for every hero monster in the graveyard, which is just why it's good for OTKs, and it deals piercing damage, which is interesting. Then 1 Wonder Driver. This card is really good, mainly because it can recycle Poly. It does other things, but not that much. It also recycles Mass Change, which is good. So if a card is summoned to the link arrows that it points to, either by your opponent or either by you, you can set a fusion or quick play change card from your graveyard back into your spawn trap card zone. Now with Poly, because it's a normal spell, you can activate it again that turn, but with Mass Change it has to be set for not a turn cycle, but just for the rest of the turn, and then you can activate it during your opponent's turn, or during your turn if you set it on your opponent's turn. And then when it's destroyed, you can summon a level 1 to 4 elemental hero monster from your, or is it hero monster? It's hero monster from your hand, which is never going to come up. Sometimes you summon Stratos, but that's only if you're lucky. Then the Miracle Fusion package. So Sunrise and Liquid Soldier, again, I explained why I play these, but the effects aren't that bad. So Absolute Zero, when he's on the field, he gains 500 attack for every water monster on the field, which is like, yeah, whatever. Besides him, if it were him, it'd be kind of crazy. But not kind of crazy. It'd be okay, but it'd be better. But anyway, every other hero water monster. So if you're facing a water deck, huh? But the more important effect is when it leaves the field. So anything except being shuffled back into the deck, you can destroy all monsters. It's a Raigeki. It destroys all monsters your opponent controls. So that's really good. If you again, you can use it as extension, as a board clear, as material, or just to attack as a big guy because he's 2,500. Then Sunrise, what he does is when he's summoned, he searches for Miracle Fusion, and while he's on the field, every monster you control gains 200 attack for every attribute you control. And if another hero monster attacks your opponent while you control this card, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. So it's just basically removal for any other funky things that your opponent has. And then one of the best cards in the deck, 2 Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer. It's really easy to make too. A lot of the time you can use, if you draw the second Destiny Fusion, you can put back the Malicious and from your graveyard into your deck with Denier, and then use Fusion Destiny on Malicious and Honest Neos to make this, or anything in on your field or whatever. But yeah, that's how I make it late game. Usually you don't use Honest Neos because usually you can kill without it. Sometimes you search it, but it's not always. It's just a really good situational card. But anyway, what this card does and why everyone and their mother wanted to play it before, but not now that Verti Anaconda is banned. Now, if they put, I think some people are still going to play it, but I think if they put Fusion Destiny to 1, then it'll be ours alone. But anyway, while it's on the field, your opponent loses attack, 200 attack for every hero monster in your graveyard. So in other decks, it's usually just 400 attack, but in this deck, it's usually around 1400. Because usually with your Ferris combo, you usually get around 7 hero monsters in your graveyard. And with everything else, it's usually like 600 or 800, but still, a lot. Anyway, its other effect, which is really good, is that once per turn, it can declare its effect and non-targeting destroy 1 card you control and 1 card on the field. So this helps you avoid Nibiru, and it helps you clear boards. It helps you get advantage off cards on the field. Say you open a Shadow Mist and you clear a monster on the board. You get a search off the Shadow Mist pop and whatever. But the reason why he's so annoying is because when he is destroyed once per turn, you can activate its effect to, on the next standby phase, whether it be your opponent's, whether it be yours, bring back 1 Destiny Hero monster from your graveyard onto the field. So the effect triggers when he's destroyed. So and it resolves during the standby phase. So if your opponent draws a bell, draws whatever, except for called by, or if they draw anything that could stop it besides DD Crow and called by, they can you can bring back Phoenix Enforcer. And if they do called by your Phoenix Enforcer, it doesn't matter because you can bring back Denier and for like either put Phoenix Enforcer back if he's your last copy for some reason, or put Malicious back, which just gets you a whole combo. So yeah. Anyway, that's it for the deck profile, guys. I invite. Honestly, tell me what you think. Tell me if this helped you. I know this video is a bit long, but yeah, I'm probably gonna do a little caveat or something at the beginning, explaining why it's so long. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, tell me in the comments down below. Leave a like. Do all the usual YouTube stuff. But if you didn't like something in the deck profile, like I don't think I'm the best hero player. I don't think I'm the best Yu-Gi-Oh player. I don't think I'm the best just deck builder or whatever. This is just what I found to work. This is just what I think is going to be good. This is just my opinion. So if you think differently, please let me know in the comments. Please, I mean, come on, be nice about it. But I'd love to have just discussions in the comments about like how to build heroes, why you think the way you think, why you think I should play an e-call, why you think I shouldn't play crossout, why you think whatever. I'd love to know. I'd love to just hear you guys out. And judging by the number of people that watched the last video, I think there are quite a few of you. And you guys didn't like or dislike the video too much. I think I got one dislike or something, and like 10 likes. But yeah, guys, please tell me what you think. And yeah, I'd love to know. And if this helped you, I'll probably do a quick version sometime soon, and I'll do just, I don't know, maybe another combo video or something about another deck. I'll do other deck profiles of decks that I like, decks that I have. I switched all of my decks to the new thing, except for Punk. I need to think about that one a little bit more, because that one had Auroradon in it, and now that's banned. So, but anyway, yeah, guys, just let me know, and hope you have a great day.